Stoney. Released in December 2016, Post Malone's debut album Stoney carves out a genre-bending identity that blends hip-hop, rap, R&B, pop, and even country and rock influences. His melodic vocals, often described as sing-song rap, focus on themes of love, relationships, and personal struggles. Post Malone's goal was to escape cliché in hip-hop by injecting personal musicianship, particularly guitar and melodic sensibility, into his songs to reflect the eclectic Dallas-Fort Worth influences of his formative years. The album is anchored by woozy trap snares and heavy bass that lend it a laid-back, club-ready feel, and spotlights his signature guitar-tinged melodies. The lyrics drift across tropes of money, luxury, women, and drug use, but they're delivered through an emotive lens that includes vibrato vocals and confessional lines in heartbreak tracks like I Fall Apart. Critically, the album received mixed responses. Some lauded its catchy hooks and inventive blend of styles, naming it among the best of 2016, while others dismissed it as overly polished, generic, or musically sprawling. For example, Pitchfork called it a 68-minute album that shows exactly why he should have never been given the chance to release a 68-minute album. Fans, especially on Reddit, responded more warmly, praising standout tracks like Up There for their guitar riffs and Post Malone's hypnotic vibrato, though some users noted it could feel overdone. Commercially, Stoney soared, debuting at number 6 on the Billboard 200 and eventually peaking at number 4, spending a record-breaking 77 weeks in the R&B hip-hop top 10, surpassing even Michael Jackson's Thriller, and ultimately earning 5 times platinum certification. Beneath the gloss, Post Malone also wrestled with personal insecurities, and his own mental health struggles with sadness, substance use, and imposter syndrome that would later become lyrical themes in his work. Ultimately, Stoney chose authenticity over trend chasing, introducing the world to Post Malone's melancholic, genre-fluid vision, and while not flawless, it established the blueprint for his emotional resonance and massive fan connection. Beerbongs and Bentleys. Post Malone's second album, Beerbongs and Bentleys, released April 2018, is a sprawling pop rap record built on rattling trap beats, atmospheric melodies, and his melodic, genre-blurring vocals. It bridges genres, with influences ranging from hip-hop to rock and country. Post Malone himself pulled inspiration from idols like Bob Dylan, Kurt Cobain, and Dwight Yoakam as he pushed beyond rap's boundaries on this album. The production is spacious and moody, pairing deep bass lines with eerie synths and laid-back beats, which let Post Malone's voice take center stage on sing-along choruses. Lyrically, Beerbongs and Bentley swings between gritty bravado and raw vulnerability. Songs like Rockstar and Taken Shots revel in Bentleys and bottle service, while Rich and Sad and Paranoid strip away the party act to reveal loneliness, insecurity, and trust issues beneath the fame. Post Malone even teased the album's concept in a tweet, saying, "Beerbongs and Bentleys isn't a song, it's a whole project, also a lifestyle," underscoring the idea that these tracks chronicle both the high life and its personal costs. This duality caught fire commercially. The album debuted at number 1 on the Billboard 200 with over 460,000 units in week 1 and broke Spotify's first-day streaming record, eventually going 5x platinum. It spawned huge hits like Rockstar and Psycho, each topping the Hot 100, and set a record for 9 tracks simultaneously in the Hot 100's top 20, making Beerbongs a defining soundtrack of 2018. Fans embraced the album's blend of anthemic pop hooks and confessional lyrics, but critics were split. Its Metacritic score is a middling 51 with mixed or average reviews, and many noted its glossy style sometimes outweighed its substance. Pitchfork warned that Post Malone's dour mood wears thin over 18 tracks, and Rolling Stone memorably called it a flexing, partying, rich sad bummer, capturing the mix of flash and melancholy at the album's core. In the end, Beerbongs and Bentleys stands as Post Malone's high stakes, cinematic snapshot of fame, equal parts glamorous and melancholic, shaping the sound of its era and cementing his star power even as it peels back the facade to reveal his personal anxieties beneath the party. Hollywood's Bleeding. Post Malone's Hollywood's Bleeding, released September 2019, opens like a moody confession nestled in glossy trap pop. The album's title track evokes vampires that want to suck the life from you, through soaring guitars and haunting shifts between introspection and spectacle. Interestingly, the album's creation coincided with Post Malone retreating from Hollywood to build an apocalypse shelter in northern Utah, a physical manifestation of his desire for solitude amid stardom and chaos. Across its 17 tracks, the album collides hip-hop, alternative rock, indie pop, and even orchestral drama, a masterclass in post-genre songwriting, as Post Malone reshapes cliches into something both despondent and seductive. There's swagger in Saint-Tropez and resolve in Goodbyes, yet tracks like Internet, co-penned by Kanye West, directly reject social media's grip with lush strings and defiant chords. Post Malone's voice slips between smoky croon and hoarse howls, each chorus a titanium-grade hook that feels like it could fund a private helipad, stupefyingly good and immediately stadium-ready. Critics applauded his genre-bending ambition, even as they raised eyebrows at lyrical superficiality or occasional brooding excess. Fans still replay staples like Circles, Take What You Want, and Goodbyes, celebrating the emotional depth alongside irresistible melodies. Commercially, the album was a juggernaut, debuting at #1 on the Billboard 200, spawning multiple top 10 hits including Wow, Goodbyes, Circles, and the chart-topping Sunflower, and earned a Grammy nomination for Album of the Year. Ultimately, Hollywood's Bleeding feels like a neon-lit diary, glamorous, paranoid, and achingly human, the soundtrack of Post Malone's confrontation with fame itself, and proof that even in excess, there's vulnerability worth hearing. 12 Carat Toothache. Post Malone's fourth album, 12 Carat Toothache, released in June 2022, emerges as a brooding mosaic of gloom and catharsis, atmospheric synthpop, moody guitars, and pensive beats that echo the claustrophobia of pandemic isolation and his retreat from LA to Utah's open spaces. This record trades the bombast of fame for intimate confession, framing alcoholism, self-loathing, and existential fatigue in tracks like the haunting love-hate letter to alcohol, a collaboration with Fleet Foxes that swells with sorrow and defiance. Opening number Reputation pummels fame's hollow illusions. You're the superstar, entertain us, before fading on an echoing final plea. I was born, what a shame. Though he continues to slip in his signature hooks like Wrapped Around Your Finger and Cooped Up, these pop interludes now shimmer against a backdrop of darkness and restraint like neon lights in a storm. The album revels in contrasts. Buoyant lines coalesce with brittle truths. Lemon Tree flirts with biting hyperbole. Burn It Down and Grow, something better, while Euthanasia drifts toward literal despair. Critics largely embraced his vulnerability. Metacritic lands at a positive 68, praising his emotional resonance even as some found its tone heavy or repetitive. Commercially, it debuted strong at #2 on Billboard 200, though sales were modest compared to Hollywood's Bleeding, with fans on Reddit recognizing the toll that relentless fame had extracted from him. Post Malone spoke widely in interviews of regaining his creative spark during a shroom-fueled 12-hour Malibu session, a psychedelic moment that unlocked a wave of raw, unfiltered songwriting. At its core, 12 Carat Toothache is less a collection of hits than a portrait, the image of Post Malone staring back from the mirror, stripped of swagger and softly wounded, his music reshaped by introspection and survival. The Diamond Collection. Released in April 2023, the Diamond Collection arrives not as another studio album, but as a polished anthology. Post Malone's greatest hits milestone, framing the emotional breadth of his early career through the lens of his most commercially dazzling moments. It curates his RIAA Diamond certified singles, tracks like White Iverson, Rockstar, Circles, and Sunflower, into one seamless, genre-fluid arc that spans hip-hop, pop, and melodic rap's most evocative corners. Released to mark his record as the artist with the most Diamond singles in history, the compilation doubles as both celebration and statement of dominance. The Deluxe Edition, unveiled in July 2023, expands this narrative by adding 9 more fan-favorite tracks, including I Like You, A Happier Song, and Take What You Want, weaving in moments of sonic evolution beyond pure Diamond credentials. As a cultural artifact, it feels like an instant anthology of our times, a pop-rap scrapbook of heartbreak and melody-wrapped melancholy, delivered with Post Malone's signature vulnerability and swagger. On the charts, the compilation soared, dominating the Australian Urban Albums list across multiple weeks and earning year-end positions in Australia, New Zealand, the UK, and reaching number 20 on the US Billboard 200 in 2024. Some fans celebrated the album's tight, essential feel, praising it as all of his essential songs in one tight package. Others were skeptical, upset that giving Diamond tracks their own home siphon streams away from older studio albums, causing a reshuffle in his chart presence. In essence, the Diamond Collection becomes both trophy case and gateway drug, a majestic testament to Post Malone's indelible pop footprint and a curated mirror to his journey, from heartfelt loner ballads to arena-filling anthems. Austin. Released in July 2023, Austin is Post Malone's 5th studio album and a self-titled confession, where he plays guitar on every track, stepping off the trap pop treadmill into shimmering pop rock and moody synth pop landscapes that paint his vices as intimate emotional terrain rather than surface symbols. His lyrics flip between self-loathing, I don't understand how you like me so much, cause I don't like myself, and wry acceptance, channeling relationships tangled in codependency and nostalgia for simpler highs. The standout single Chemical leads the album with taut pop hooks and guitar grit, while Enough Is Enough leans into Antonov-style production and confessional drinking remorse. Critics gave Austin generally favorable nods. Metacritic scored it 66, with praise for its candid, melodic bravery and genre-defying shifts tempered by occasional criticism for uneven songwriting and restrained production. Fans echoed that praise across Reddit. One called it, "My favorite era. Album saved my life. Thank you, Austin Post. You're an angel," while others hailed its cohesion and intimate feel, free of any guest features. Some reviewers found the pop crowding the emotional core, longing for more of the rawness found in tracks like Green Thumb or the stripped-back opener, Don't Understand. Yet the album's emotional pulse, balancing vulnerability and levity, confession and chorus, cements Austin as a pivot in Post Malone's career. It's his most personal project, a deeply human whisper among the roaring iconography of fame. F1 Trillion. Post Malone's 6th studio album, F1 Trillion, released in August 2024, marks his full-on plunge into country music, a sprawling, star-studded affair that leans into Nashville's grand tradition with swagger and sincerity. It's essentially a genre-defining crossover built on the backs of icons like Tim McGraw, Dolly Parton, Blake Shelton, Morgan Wallen, Luke Combs, and more, turning the album into both a tribute and a statement of belonging. The sonic palette is rich with pedal steel, banjo, heartfelt twang, and radio-ready choruses. Wrong Ones, with McGraw, introduces the album with foot-stomping roots, rock energy, while Have the Heart, with Parton, sparkles with campy, jubilant charm. Post Malone, of course, doesn't abandon what made him himself. Auto-tune leather vocals linger, even as he drops rap's brashness for country storytelling during quieter gems like What Don't Belong to Me. Lyrically, he dances between vulnerability and bravado. Tracks like Losers, with Jelly Roll channel underdog empathy, while the reflective Yours, inspired by his daughter's future wedding, reveals a tender, real-world softness. The album debuted at #1 in multiple countries, including the US, UK, Canada, Netherlands, New Zealand, and Norway, powered by country pop singles like I Had Some Help and Pour Me a Drink, both dominating country and Hot 100 charts. Critics responded warmly. Pitchfork lauded his seamless genre transition and versatility. The Guardian noted its polished, enjoyable charm despite its length, and Country Central appreciated how he grew into the genre even more with the Long Bed Deluxe disc, which shed guest fixtures for a more personal voice. Fans mirrored that sentiment, praising Post Malone's genuine enthusiasm and said he seemed grateful and comfortable in his new milieu. The album cover, a Ford F-100 rolling from the sky in a dreamlike tableau by Mexican artist Gonzalo Labricha, complements the music's blend of nostalgia, spectacle, and heartfelt Americana. Ultimately, F1 Trillion is Post Malone's country debutante ball, an audacious, crowd-pleasing, genre-fluid journey that speaks both to his roots and his restless artistry, proving he's not just visiting country, he's moved in. What do you think of Post Malone's newest album? Let us know in the comments.